Anchor Point.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Kristen Carlson, the Director of Real Estate at Harbor Light Community Partners. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm glad it's not too muddy. And it's really wonderful to be in person, to see everyone's faces, and to celebrate the groundbreaking of Anchor Point Phase 1. Yeah. I want to say a special thank you to our electeds who are joining us here today. So Mayor Cahill of Beverly. And I see over there Mayor Kim Driscoll of Salem. And we also have Mayor Betancourt of Peabody. We have Senator Joan Lovely. We have Beverly Representative Jerry Paracella. We have Salem Representative Paul Tucker. And Peabody Representative Tom Walsh. I also know we have some members of the Beverly City Council. We have Ward Councilor Stacey Ames with us. I saw Julie Flowers. Scott Hausman. And is Dominic Copeland here? This is really the product of a great team. We have our contractors, Grimm Construction, our architects, Samasco and Verberidge, and I want to give a special shout out thank you to John Webb from Webb Transportation, who has gotten us all parked on this very muddy site and kept us all safe. So thank you. If you need any transportation, call him. And he's donating his services today, so a special thank you for that. So most of you know that Harbor Light Community Partners, we are a mission-driven housing nonprofit. We create homes, and that's why we're here today. In the past year, I think home has come to take on a whole different meaning for many of us. We've all seen how important stable, affordable, safe housing is to our health and safety. Phase 1 of Anchor Point will create 38 safe homes for families. So, can you hear me okay? Okay. So starting construction is a huge milestone, one that we're very excited to get going on. It's a lot of fun to see. I love construction. But what we don't see when we're here, and what I want to highlight just a little bit, is the past 6+ years of work that it took to get to this day. So back in 2015, Neil and Douglas, who's here today, I see him. Great. So he was beginning conversations with the owner of this property, Sandy Stanton, who is also here today. And the idea of Anchor Point began to grow. Throughout 2017, the city of Beverly pursued 40R designation for the site. 40R is a really innovative approach. It's called smart growth zoning. It makes multifamily housing possible, and it also provides incentive payments to the city. So it's really a win-win. We had early funding and support from the Life Initiative and from CDAC, which enabled us as a nonprofit to advance the project. We had lots of support from all the local electeds, from local organizations. That's made a huge difference in us being able to get funded at the state level and at the local level. So that by 2020, we had received all of our funding awards. So from 2015, sort of at the sort of initial idea, to 2022, which is when units will be ready for families to move in next year. So idea to move in. I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that's certainly the case here. That said, with all the support of our partners and our funders, we've really gotten here, I think, in pretty good time, all things considered. So the project as a whole, Anchor Point, will have 77 units of supportive family housing. The residential portion will be built in 2 phases. The first phase that we're here for today is phase 1, that will have 38 units. The second phase will have 39 units. And the one really innovative part about this is that it's housing, but it's supportive housing. And we want to combine services with housing to help our residents. And a really critical part of that is something called the Lighthouse Center, which is sort of the community center that will eventually be sort of right where we're sitting today. And that will provide services, that'll provide programming, that will provide on-site daycare for the families who live here, and that is philanthropically supported. And that's a really innovative part, combining that housing with that depth and level of service that we're really, really excited about. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mayor Cahill.
Good to see you. Thank you, Kristen. Hey, it's great to see everybody. Getting to have a conversation like this today is just fantastic. Let me try to run through a few thanks. Harbor Light Community Partners, as a partner for us in Beverly, you know, whether it's partnering with the Y to turn 45 SROs into studios and build 22 new apartments in downtown Beverly for people who need supportive services, whether it's partnering with Beacon Properties and saving our 100-year-old beautiful Briscoe High School, turning it into 85 deeply affordable senior apartments, artist live workspace, restoring the beautiful auditorium, or whether it's building is it 6 Hardy Street, 2 Hardy Street, I know it's 6 units, building Hardy Street and making darn sure that affordable living is staying in our downtown, even as we work to try to address our deep housing needs of all incomes and in all stages of life. Whatever it is, Harbor Light is a perfect partner for us. And with that, I want to say, Neil and Priscilla, you there? Yeah, there you are. I know that there are many amazing people affiliated with First Baptist Church who have been really the heartbeat and the conscience of Beverly for decades and decades. And so I'm giving credit here to Neil and Priscilla, knowing there are a lot of other people who along the way have done amazing things. In our community, and it all kind of started with the team at First Baptist, so thank you all. So, you know, Andrew's great. I love Andrew. And you know, he could have come into my office on his own, but given that he's a New York Football Giants fan, he probably figured it was good to bring Neil in. But when he walked into my office with Neil and said, we want to build affordable housing up from the high school, I mean, it's got to be a yes. So it was kind of dirty pool to bring Neil in, but at the same time, Andrew understands well leverage. So this project, as Kristen said, it's been several years in the making, and one of the things, you know, when Andrew and Neil came to the office and said, you want affordable housing, you need affordable housing, and you know, of course we do. I was freshly minted as mayor, and there are a lot of things I was trying to pay attention to, but we've all learned a whole lot from our fierce affordable housing advocates in Beverly, and a lot of people have stepped up to make sure that it's happening. So, and the fact that it's so incredibly complex. Sandy Stanton, thank you so much for being such a willing partner here and selling your property to make sure that we can do this. My friend Clark Ziegler from, gosh, decades, and the fact that Mass Housing Partnership is so integrally involved here is wonderful. Dr. Stephen Hershey and Dr. Sue Chirocic, our past and current superintendent of schools, were quick to embrace this idea. And in some communities, we all know, in some communities, it's not one more child in our schools, right? And they helped us kind of put the path together to make sure that we have enough room for all the kids who want to be in Beverly, all the families who want their kids to live and learn in Beverly. And the one thing that I think we've talked about some is we can't be afraid to have more kids in our schools. We have more kids, we need more room, so be it, right? So, and at any rate, lots of support there. I also want to point out our fantastic planning department in Beverly, our planning board and other boards and committees that had involvements here, but especially our planning department. Aaron Clausen, our former planner. Where are you, Aaron? There Aaron's now the planner in Lynn. And Mayor McGee gave him the morning off, which is great. And Darlene Wynn, our former assistant and now current planning director. And their teams, they and their teams have done incredible work on this as well. And I think, Kristen, you got most everybody for local elected officials, but I want to make sure we also acknowledge our school committee members. Dr. Ken-Ann McKenzie is here from our school committee. Our school committee president, Rachel Abell, and Ward 6, yep, Rachel. And Ward 6 school committee woman, Lorinda Visnick. And Rachel and Lorinda have been here the whole time, right? We've all been doing this together, and it wasn't just the superintendents, it's the school committee that really had to embrace, and not just embrace, but really promote and make sure people understand the need for this. So lots of wonderful support. Our city council approving the zoning change, but not just that, standing up strongly and speaking very strongly publicly on the need. As most of you know, we're over 10% on our official affordable housing requirements from the state, but we all know that's not nearly good enough. And so the City Council again and again has been a strong set of champions for the needs of people in this community. Thank you. And then Kristen touched on our own Beverly local state officials, right? Rep. Paracel and Senator Lovely, and also our friends from Peabody, Representative Tucker and Representative Walsh. And they always push for resources to be made available through state budgets, through bonds, and then when it comes to making sure that what's needed comes our way, they're incredibly strong advocates as well. So thank you all. And I'm going to turn to my fellow mayors, Kim Driscoll and Ted Betancourt. We have great partnerships with Governor Baker, with Secretary Keneally, and with the whole Baker administration. And I would say our three communities have been doing more on housing than most, and it's a credit to everybody that we're just talking about. And it's also thanks to that really productive, great partnership with the state. The last thing I'll say is several years ago, really kind of when I started doing this in 2014, and we had some real concerns on the city council, and Councilor Houseman, I know you're here, we started a task force on homelessness, and we quickly connected with Mayor Driscoll and Mayor Betancourt and their teams. And then Andrew said, you three communities should write an MOU and make a strong statement to build affordable housing. Where are you, Andrew? Yeah, so, it was, and I tell you, it was great because it was three communities and a whole lot of people with a whole lot of ideas, and Andrew's got a great way, as we all know, about just kind of, guiding, and he did that incredibly in a very respectful and nuanced fashion, and we all jumped on board and we signed this MOU, which to date has helped produce a whole lot of affordable housing in our three communities. And since we're partnering up, the state's seen the value in that, and allowed us to share a local preference for residents of all three communities in projects that are being done in any of the three communities. And we want to try to continue that as we go forward. And the last thing I'm going to say, because I recognize Neil and Priscilla, knowing there are many more people from First Baptist over the years, I also want to recognize Lace and John Thompson, because you've been part of that incredible work for decades as well. So thanks. I know there's somebody, is it you, Senator? Senator Lovely, come on up. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning. I am so pleased to be here this morning with all of you. I want to say thank you to everyone on this list right here, but everyone who's here who has had a hand in getting us to here today. I will tell you, and Representative Paracella will agree, my strong partner at the State House, that really the number one call we were getting coming into the pandemic was housing insecurity. Homelessness, people who were literally calling, who were saying, the van's pulling up tomorrow and I'm out of my apartment, where am I going? I'll tell you a story about a family. We got a call last year, at the end of the school year, a family, mom, dad, and 3 little ones, living in Bradley Palmer State Park, camping for the summer because they were out of their home, and where were they going? They did not want to be separated. We cobbled together supports, and they were housing secure again. But those are the stories that we're hearing. And now coming into getting through this pandemic, but all during the pandemic, now the calls for unemployment help, unemployment assistance, with the Department of Unemployment, that absolutely partners with even more housing insecurity. So to have this project that's going to be underway today is just, again, a tribute to all of you for really recognizing, to the mayors, Mayor Cahill, Mayor Driscoll, my mayor in Salem. By the way, I'm a Beverly native, so I did grow up here. And Mayor Betancourt, you recognize working with, again, with Andrew. Really, Andrew. Andrew knows that not every community, we all know, not every community wants affordable housing. Most, maybe not most, many don't. And they'll fight to keep it out. But not Beverly, not Salem, not Peabody, not the North Shore. We're here to work together, and I couldn't be more pleased. And thank you for setting aside 8 units for homeless, for someone who literally is living in their car or living in a shelter. We are going to secure people with this housing. So I just want to say how grateful I am and proud to be able to partner with all of you to be able to support this great project and many great projects going forward. So thank you. And I'd like to call up my great partner in government, Representative Paracella. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Lovely, very much. She's a great partner. Love working with her. And it was also great to have, we have Rep. Tucker from Salem and Rep. Walsh from Peabody. Affordable housing and the lack of it, or trying to develop affordable housing, isn't a Beverly issue, a Salem issue, a Peabody issue. It's a regional issue. And to have, as Senator Lovely said, all of these folks involved, it's just an amazing collaboration, and it shows the quality of work that Harbor Light does for all of us. I've got relatives living in Harbor Light properties, and it's just a terrific organization. They do a great job. And it says affordable, but it should also say quality. They don't skimp on the work that they do. It's really, really quality work. And it's just great to be here to support it, to provide funding in the state budget. We get this book from the budget, and it's all these items and all these numbers. But what do those numbers mean? Those numbers mean, apartments, bedrooms, bathrooms, affordable housing for folks. So it's really important that we provide that support, and I'm just honored to be here. And I love what Andrew does and the other folks at Harbor Light. They always engage the community before they're doing a project, get the support of the community, and they just do a terrific job of getting the buy-in from the residents. Some developers come storming in and they say, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is it, and that. But they just really get the community involved and engagement. Just seeing all these people here shows the great job that they do. So I'm honored to be here, to be a little bit of a partner in this, and thank you so much for coming out. It's a great job, it's a great day today. Thank you.
call you out, I'm sorry.
No problem. Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Congressman Seth Moulton this morning because stable housing means security, it means opportunity, and it means prosperity. And we need more housing in Massachusetts. We need more market rate housing. We need more housing that is affordable to the working class men and women in our community. And we need more communities like the three who are represented here to step up and take their responsibility to protected, affordable housing seriously. Many of you may know that Congress reintroduced federal budget earmarks this year. I'm old enough to have worked for a member of Congress when these existed before. And we took that responsibility, and I call it a responsibility, very seriously. Unfortunately, Congress screwed it up by building a bunch of bridges to nowhere. And it went away for over a decade. But it came back this year, and we asked ourselves, what are we going to do to show that we deserve this trust? How are we going to make sure that the community knows that we are making a wise investment in their federal taxpayer dollars? And we said two things. One, any project we support has to reflect the values and needs of our community. And two, it needs to help build back stronger from this pandemic. We chose this project as one of our 10 to support the supportive housing element of this because it checks all of those boxes. And because Harbor Light is a perfect partner, and all of the rest of the partners here are the perfect partners that we know that every single one of penny of that investment will be well spent and will go to support families in need. Now, I told Andrew and Bethany not to cash any checks anytime soon because this is still a work in progress. This is not guaranteed funding, but we look forward to pushing for this and hopefully coming back to ensure that we can help make sure that the third phase of this project is a success. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Jones, President and CEO of the Institution for Savings, and I too am very honored to be here. Congratulations, Harbor Light, Andrew, Kristen, Bethany, excellent job. Board of Directors, Mike Schaff in particular, Bob Gillis, thank you so much. And I do want to say a special thank you to Mayor Cahill. We at the institution really appreciate your commitment to affordable housing, and we're glad we can help, and you're doing an excellent job here in Beverly, so thank you so much. I also want to thank everyone here that helped provide approval as well as funding sources. Thank you so much, Brian, for having us help you participate with the construction loan. That was great for us to get involved with Boston Private, so thank you so much. Bethany happened to ask me to, really just go over briefly our relationship with Harbor Light. It started a few years back. We helped out with the Turtle Creek Apartments. Then we did Boston Street Crossing in Salem. Both of those were tax credit deals for us, so we were willing to certainly be equity investors in both of those projects, and this is what we're doing today as well. So we have a $10 million commitment as an equity investor in the tax credits for this project, which is great for us. We've also, like I said, participated with Boston Private in a construction loan. And then probably one of the things that we're most proud of is we did give a couple $100,000 to the Lighthouse Center. So, that's all good. But I tell you, it's not all about investments for us. I mean, we are huge advocates of affordable housing. We always have been. I strongly feel that individuals, they need a safe and secure place to live, but probably more importantly, a place they can call home. So thank you so much to everybody here. I appreciate all that you all do, and we're ready for phase 2 as well. And by the way, you can cash our check whenever you want. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Christine Vincenti, and I work for the Massachusetts Housing Investment Corporation. For those of you who don't know us, we are a private, nonprofit financier of affordable housing and community development across New England. At MHIC, we have the opportunity to partner with investors. Mike. Thank you. With investors like the Institution for Savings to bring together private capital for impactful projects such as this. We work with the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program, which is an integral part of any financing for affordable housing in the Commonwealth. So this project not only is providing essential affordable housing for low-income residents that are burdened by the increasing cost of rents, but furthermore, it provides not only a physical move, but a move to healing for families that are struggling with homelessness. And so that is a great reward for all of us that have been working on it. So I wanted to thank the Institution for Savings for being our investor on this project, but I also need to thank Groom Construction and Harbor Light Community Partners because they have really championed our mission for racial equity and inclusion. So this is something that MHIC feels very strongly about. We want to make sure that the subcontractors are representative of our communities, including people of color, and Groom Construction and Harbor Light have committed $1.7 million of subcontracts to businesses owned by people of color. And we just think that is great. So I've worked with Harbor Light as their kind of primary MHIC contact since Turtle Creek in 2007. And MHIC has worked with Harbor Light for over 2 decades. But I have to say, this is our first ground-up construction project with Harbor Light. So I was really excited to throw that dirt earlier today, and I'm really excited to see this start. So thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you, and that's a pretty cliche phrase, but boy, after this year and after being behind masks, it really is good. I don't know about you guys, but this is the first event that I've been to where you haven't had masks, we could shake hands, and it's just a beautiful thing, so it's great to see all of you. So my name is Brian Gregory. I'm the North Shore Manager for Boston Private and a former HCP board member. What a great day for Beverly this is, and for the region. But everything that Harbor Light has done for this community and for the region is really something to be proud of. I should note, if some of you have not heard, that Boston Private is in the final stages of a merge with Silicon Valley Bank, and we will become their primary private banking and investment management provider. Month end, beginning of July. But this merge is going to bring breadth and depth to our capabilities, and more on that in a moment with my colleague here. So I know that I can speak on behalf of all of us in the Beverly office of Boston Private when I say how proud we are to have been and continue to be associated with Harbor Light Community Partners. It's a beautiful thing when you have a client and they call and they don't even have to say who they are. You can just recognize their voice, and that's the case with the folks at Harbor Light. And at Boston Private, we have a team approach. Whether it's a personal relationship, a corporate relationship, non-profit relationship. And while we do the nitty-gritty banking here in the Beverly office for Boston Private, I'm going to introduce a fellow who represents our commercial lending and has worked on several HCP products, Peter Hollins.
Thanks. We thought a tag team would be a little better than just one of us alone. But yes, I'm the commercial lending team leader for community development lending for Boston Private. Thanks, Brian. Peter Hollins. And I want to recognize my colleague who did all the work on this for us, Andrew Flake, another Andrew, who is our loan officer for this. Also, Karen Kepler from Sullivan & Worcester, who represents us there. I don't want to go on and on. It's been a pleasure for many years to work with Harbor Light Community Partners. I think this is our 4th or 5th project with them, and many of the other partners who we know very well and are glad to be seeing here again, as Brian said, for the first time in a long time. As some of you have said already, this is a great day, but it's not enough. We all have to do more. The pandemic showed us even more starkly than usual how affordable housing is needed. It's a matter, in a lot of cases, of life and death. So we are pleased and proud to be part of this and many other affordable housing and community development projects in this area and around our service area. As Brian said, Silicon Valley Bank is committed also to affordable housing and community development lending, after day one, as they call it, sometime around July 1st, they've committed to, over 5 years, doing $11 billion worth of community development investing. So we're eager to be out here doing more of this kind of lending and investing, and hope to see you at many other gatherings like this in the future. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Cynthia Lacasse, and on behalf of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, DHCD, and Mass Housing, I want to thank and congratulate Harbor Lights Community Partners for all your efforts to bring this incredible development to fruition. And that, the cliche that it takes a village is well worn, but in this case, it is so apt. What a village we have today that's come together in person without masks, yay. And I want to focus on the village of the 14, count them, 14 funding sources that have come together to finance and support the Harbor Lights Village's vision. And that doesn't even count the philanthropic funds that are being raised to support the Lighthouse Center. Since its inception, the Affordable Housing Trust has funded almost 700 developments, totaling over 30,000 units throughout the Commonwealth. And each of the projects supports the unique and pressing needs of affordable housing and critical services in the community where it's located. And Anchor Point is no exception. And I can't believe I'm the first one to use this cliche, but these residential units will anchor the truly amazing Lighthouse Center, which will serve the residents and the entire town of Beverly and the region in so many ways. So thank you very much, and once again, congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Roger Herzog from CDAC. In case you didn't notice, we are in the section of the program now for state housing agencies, and I'm really thrilled to be here with my colleagues Cynthia from Mass Housing and Clark from Mass Housing Partnership. It's been a long time since we've been together in person celebrating, and it is a great day here in Beverly. I want to give a shout out for a most important partner at the state level, and that is the Department of Housing and Community Development, who couldn't be here with us today, but they are providing the critical public dollars that a project like this requires. So Undersecretary Jennifer Maddox, Kate Racer, who runs their housing development division, and her great team are key players here, and congratulations to them. CDAC's role in this finance infrastructure that we have in Massachusetts is we're the early stage financing partner, and we've been involved since 2017 in providing the seed capital and the acquisition dollars to buy the site that Harbor Light used to plan the project, move it through the permitting and financing phases to bring it to today's milestone event. And we're really happy because those pre-development and acquisition loans, which total over $4 million, get repaid when this project starts, and we recycle those dollars to the next generation, including phase 2, where we also have another $1 million pre-development loan. So we are thrilled to be here. I also want to acknowledge that, as has been mentioned, this incredible partnership between several North Shore communities, Beverly, Salem, Peabody, on the issue of homelessness, and specifically family homelessness. I chair an interagency committee at the state level that brings together folks from the housing side and the human services side, and what is going on here in the region is a model for the rest of the state. And we are so pleased to see units dedicated to serving families that have experienced homelessness here on this site, helping to meet this goal in this famous MOU that Andrew was able to get everyone to agree to. Thank you for serving as a model, and we are so pleased to be a part of that. I want to thank our state delegation for providing the authorizations for key funding that are being deployed here. And I also want to acknowledge the great work by the CDAC team that went into this. Sarah McKeever, our senior project manager, has been working with Andrew and his team for several years, along with Jacqueline Patsejo, Heen Burnham, and our resident North Shore representative, Bill Bronner, who's here with us today. So great job, team. Congratulations to the board and staff of Harbor Light. We are so excited to see this project get moving, and also on the other projects that we're involved with you on in Rockport and Wenham and elsewhere in Beverly. So thank you and congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Clark Ziegler, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Housing Partnership, and we're thrilled to be providing the permanent mortgage financing for Phase 1 in partnership with North Shore Bank. At MHP, we've financed hundreds of affordable rental housing developments and tens of thousands of units across the Commonwealth. And our sweet spot is developments with nonprofit sponsors or with really strong community roots. Even in that universe, this project really, really stands out. Alice, where's Alice Wong? Raise your hand. Alice is our senior loan officer. She is no pushover. We've worked together for a long time. When she recommended approval of this loan to our board of directors on Zoom a few weeks ago, and for the record, I never want to be in another Zoom meeting in my life. She was effervescent about what this project means to the city of Beverly and how deeply it reflects the mission of Harbor Light. This is the real deal, and that really comes through in every possible way. You are all great partners, particularly thanks to Mayor Cahill for his kind words. It's nice to be around some of my favorite mayors. And I have to confess, we have a soft spot for Harbor Light. So keep that in mind in future business dealings. Anyway, congratulations to everyone involved with the project. Let's get Phase 1 built and occupied, and let's move on to Phase 2. So thank you. And I'll turn things over to Andrew.
Well, here we are. I wore all my New York Giants blue for Mayor Cahill today. I have no sense of style, but that one I lucked out on, apparently. So that was just for you. New York Giants. I see. Not yet. Thank you, Jack. It's not. You all are, you haven't been out of the house in a while. I can see what's happening to everybody. It's nice to see you all. The mic is for, I think, the Zoom recording. I know it's a little hard to hear in the back, so I'll do my normal sort of preacher voice, which is helpful for me and good for everybody else. I have Thad stationed in the rear with his arms crossed to let me know whether or not he can hear me or not. We're good? Okay, good. That's good. So mostly as I think about this morning, mostly I'm just filled with a sense of gratitude for everybody. And hopefully it's nice for me in these moments because we have it takes so many different people to make something like this happen. But you all don't see each other until we get to here. So it's nice for me to see and remember the litany of stories, some of which I could tell here and some of which I probably couldn't, that were necessary to get to this point, and to see you all come together as the people who made this happen. And that's really amazing and exciting. So as I think about this, gratitude is my dominant thought. My other dominant thought is really about the sense of community. I think as Clark described, obviously I'm biased to Beverly. This is my home city, and I'm biased to the region. but I think this is pretty special, and we've continued to do some pretty special things together. And the highlight moment for me, if I recall, is when we were going to pass this. This was a zoning change. I know this is boring for probably a lot of people, but it's a really important moment. We had to pass. The city had to pass a zoning change, so Mayor Cahill had to support that, which he did really robustly. And then the city council had a vote on it. And maybe some of you were there. Lorinda was there. Lorinda, you here? I think Ellen was there. Aaron was there. My buddy Aaron in the back, who walked with us through this. Ted Carmen, who a number of you know, was the mastermind. But we had to do this public meeting. You remember the public meeting? And we had to do this public meeting, and we thought we had the votes. As Mayor Cahill said, I had definitely been counting votes in advance, and I thought I had all the votes to get there. We really wanted to get 9-0. I was a little worried maybe we would go 8-1, but I preferred unanimous, and so we were working on that. And we got to the meeting, and our strategy was, we didn't know if there would be any opponents. Our strategy was to have so many people in City Hall that we would take all the chairs. And that's what happened. we took up every seat in City Hall chamber, and I remember Jason Silva's face, who's a close friend of mine, who was on the city council at the time, just shocked, because usually you can only get 100 people out to say no to something. But to get 100 people out at a nighttime in a long meeting to say yes to something is really something, and the mood in that room was electric. It was really, really something. So for all of you who were there, I appreciate you being there. And it makes me think, again, just of community and how desperately we all need that. In a moment like this, where we're first coming out of the house after 15 months of quarantine, this is, I should note, by way of the most important thing this morning, this is the first public event for myself and my wife, Dr. McKenzie, who's the Ward 2 School Committee rep in the back, who was recognized earlier. You can clap. Go ahead, Ms. Mayor. This is our first official public married event. I believe that's correct. So there you go. That's the. And I lost I'm not sure where I was now, but community. So I think just thinking about community, and struck by how many of you had to put in energy to make this happen and to create homes with opportunities for people you may never meet. And how always that's the most special thing. I remember when we permitted the Cabot, I had similar, the Cabot Y building, similar feelings about the beauty of the energy of a community that puts forth effort on behalf of someone else's good that they don't know. And viewing that as sort of one of the highest form of our common good together, our highest ethical effort. And so I applaud all of you for putting your back into something that made something happen for people that you don't know. And maybe won't know, but I'll be a part of this community. It takes a lot of us to do this. And then secondly, as it relates to the community, we're more aware now, as some of you have said, than we've ever been, about some of the pains and griefs and struggles in the broader community. It's not that we didn't know before. It's not that we didn't know before the last year and a half, but somehow we were forced to see deeply, more deeply than maybe we have been seeing. It's like the tide going out. You know, my house here is on the backside over by the river, and we have the tide coming in and the tide going out. And when the tide goes out, you can see a lot of things that you knew were there, but you didn't have to look at. And so this, in my mind, is a manifestation of our community effort and our will for the common good, so that essential workers, people that are working on construction projects, people that are working in our restaurant industries, people that we want to come back to work in our restaurant industries, I see Mary Driscoll in the back, people that we want to be there to take care of our children so people can go back to work, people that risk their own lives and well-being to take care of our seniors in long-term care settings and apartment buildings and assisted livings all through the pandemic, that these people have places to live. We want equity, we want fairness, we want opportunities to thrive, which is why we added the Lighthouse Center to this process. And I want to definitely thank all the donors who are supporting that, the early donors like Institution for Savings, all of the donors for HCP that help us weather the distance of a project that starts in 2015 and doesn't get into the ground until 2021. We need you all who support us, especially the Community Investment Tax Credit investors who help us weather from point A to point B. Really, really important. The Lighthouse Center, as you all will see, if you take a look at the back later, if you're interested in that, is our third building on this site. We're raising capital for that. In our mind, that is the glue. That is the physical manifestation of a place to create opportunity so that the children and the adults who live in these buildings that are affordable can also thrive. places where they can get more education, places where they can get outside and play and run and grow things themselves to eat, places they can be safe when the outside world is maybe not as safe of a place, places where kids can grow up and be well. And so we're trying to make that happen. So spread the word on the Lighthouse Center as you get a chance, as we're trying to raise capital for that. We appreciate that. And we appreciate being part of making a housing setting that people can afford, but where they can also thrive and grow. And one of the markers for that, as a last moment I'll give you, is I see the Santons here, and want to applaud and thank them for the creation of the Neil and Jay Douglas Scholarship Fund. My friend, my long-term friend, I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm glad to see you, Neil. It's been a long time. Tough year. And Neil was there in the beginning of this whole thing, when we tried to work it out, negotiating with Sandy and myself and Nealon, and going down to Secretary Ash to trying to convince him that this was a good idea. And as Mayor Cahill said, we do have the gift of persistence. It's sort of an inverse relationship to height. The shorter you are, the more persistent you need to be. But the Santons have created an endowed fund to give scholarship to kids that are going to grow up here to go to college, and named it after Nealon, which is pretty good. And so it's that kind of a special place. That's a good image of who we are as a community. I think as Beverly and as the wider North Shore, we mean to make good things happen for people, to give kids opportunity to thrive, to give adults opportunity to thrive and to grow. We're here to try to make opportunity happen. And you all are a part of that and did that. So you all did what I would view as a miraculous and wonderful thing. And I hope you're proud of yourselves and of each other, and that we can get on to the next one, where we'll see you, as Roger said, we'll see you again here on the second phase, and in Wenham soon, and in Rockport, and in Beverly again, and in Hamilton soon enough. I know I have some Hamilton friends here. We're working on a couple things there, so we'll see you there too. Back to the point of persistence. So let's make some homes together, because that's what we're doing here. We're delighted to see you all. I am told I'm supposed to let you know, please take a gift bag from Groom and HCP, which is in the back. You're supposed to take one of those. My attorney and good friend Kurt James in the back has his eye on extras. So I would encourage you to take as many possible, because he's going to try to take more than his share. If you would like to see the layout of an apartment, I would encourage you, Dave and Pam Constantine, my good friends and board members, laid out this unit. If you're curious about how the layout looks, please check that out. And on your way out, we would ask you just please to be patient with our good friends from Webb, and the detail as you go out. It'll be a little slow as people are getting out of the building. So I applaud you all. I celebrate all of you, the board, the staff, the investors, the donors, everybody who's involved. And I told the finance people who are at home watching, Sue and Jamie, that I would say hello to them. So hello to Sue and Jamie. Everybody takes everybody. So congratulations to you all. Nice to see you.